Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day, or as best as a day as you can, because I think like many of you would probably agree with me, we looked at our portfolios today and nothing was happening, just sitting sideways, nothing up or down. And the question is, what do we even do when there's no trading? Stare at the wall? But at least we got trading that will resume tomorrow, and we have a lot of important things to talk about. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Palantir. I have a really interesting article to cover with you guys that highlights possibly one of the key factors that could be a big impactor on the S&P 500 inclusion for PLTR, and in addition, what's going to be happening to the global market, because at the end of trading last Friday, we had a lot of uncertainty that spiked into the market with another inflation data report that was hotter than expected. So the probability and the uncertainty about what's going to be happening with those rate cuts is still up in the air. This needs to get priced in, especially if there is going to be a delay. So if you are a new or a returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. And of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, Palantir, like I said, closed at 24.44. We talked about this. And if we do see any potential pullback, especially as we've seen this large explosion after quarter four earnings, Palantir could be testing this micro support level at 23.76, around this area. You can see the multiple touch points right here on the short term. Hint, on the short term, that means that I would not rely on the support level as a critical level of support. However, if Palantir is able to hold in the 20s here, find some stabilization, or if it even starts to continue to increase in price, work its way up to the 30s, this is great as Palantir finds its groundings in the 20s, because this is a newer area that has not been recently explored and has not stabilized in for a long time for PLTR. And if we toggle over here to the options really quick, you can see there's actually a decent amount of bullishness coming in behind PLTR. You can see here at the $25 and at the $26 strike price, nearly 10,000 in actual implied volatility. Now, toggle over here. One of the articles that I did want to highlight is why, this is from Seeking Our Alpha right here, believing that healthcare is a key catalyst for the S&P 500 inclusion. Now, as a recap, we'll quickly be going over the S&P 500. Remember that Palantir has already hit its fourth quarter of GAAP profitability. In fact, it's actually hit 5 quarters of GAAP profitability. And now the question is, when is it going to be joining the S&P 500? Especially that being said, this has been on the back burner that Palantir investors have been anticipating for a long time. And they do believe, and many people do believe, that this AI competitive leader stands a good chance to gain inclusion into the S&P 500. And with that, they also have an earnings recap in some of these key healthcare developments that have really been groundbreaking for the stock, because they have been breaking away from just governmental contracts and diving into the private sector. One of the biggest groundbreaking healthcare industry involvement contracts, of course, that everybody remember, if you guys remember this contract, the United Kingdom National Health Service, which really showcased their ability, I agree with this article here, for Palantir to secure some large, complex healthcare projects. And with a 7-year contract, you can see that adding more detail here, and for this quarter four fall, they also had additional contracts being signed here with one of the largest pharmaceuticals and biotech companies in the world, and also with a comprehensive health network in the Midwest. And on top of that, for the actual S&P 500 inclusion, is that the current criteria for meaning that you need the GAAP profitability of 4 quarters. Palantir already has that. And also you need a market cap of at least 14.5 billion shares. And actually they are beating the value of over 300 of the current 500 stocks in the S&P 500. Now let's take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Seeking Alpha. And as you guys have probably seen, I actually utilize Seeking Alpha on a daily basis to conduct all my research and to create content for you guys in the most non-biased approach that I can possible. And what I love about Seeking Alpha, and as we've particularly been looking at Palantir within the last few months, is that their data analytics gives me nearly any piece of information that I want to know about our particular stock. And this goes across the board for thousands of different stocks. You You get exclusive access to things like earnings transcripts. You also get the bullish and the bearish perspective with many different analysts here. So that way you guys can actually formulate your own opinions and take your own positions on a particular stock. I really like Seeking Alpha because any information that I need, I can get it on there. So if you want access to this kind of data, make sure you check out my affiliate link down below. You get 20% off using that link, and that comes with a free 7-day trial. Check out the link, and I don't think you guys will be disappointed. Back to the video. But if we continue on right here, and why healthcare matters for the S&P 500 inclusion is that healthcare offers another vertical. And I kind of agree, and this is a really great key point here, that the US healthcare system is quite fragmented and offers a way for the firm to bring in revenue diversity to the healthcare industry. And now why this is not a stated requirement, they say here for the S&P 500, this helps make the company more appealing, basically saying that this AI data analytics software can get involved with the healthcare industry when typically their revenues are from very fragmented sources. And I think that this could be a great inclusion as this comes back to the S&P 500 board. They have to choose which stocks will come out and which stocks come in. And that this is a crazy market share for a company not known for being in healthcare. And on top of that, Palantir, what we've seen is typically about a 5% increase in valuation when these stocks do join the S&P 500, just due to all the index funds that actually are tracking it, all the different funds that are just buying it, and this helps for maturity of the company. Now, like I said, let's not forget one of the biggest criticisms on why this pullback could possibly happen at Palantir, not just from a global macroeconomic effect, but also from this downgrade. Now, HSBC downgraded PLTR stock. We've seen this before, but to quickly recap here, maintaining a $22 per share price target. One of the main reasons that people are relating this downgrade from HSBC to Palantir's $22 price target is the company's rather full valuation. Now, we do know that Palantir does carry a high valuation. You can even see here on Seeking Alpha, looking at all the recent quant analysis, all the recent time periods and inquiries, valuation is usually at an F or a D compared to growth and profitability and margins at an A. Palantir has always traded at a high valuation. We took a look at this actually in yesterday's video. Among some of the other tech stocks, it is trading at a higher percentage than the median average for software as a sales service and also as just tech stocks in general. But however, the gauge that we're seeing for Palantir and the valuation of where I sit in my opinion is typically the stocks that are highly valued. This means that a lot of bullish investors are taking a chance on Palantir, and they are taking the bet that Palantir will continue to report very bullish earnings reports and continue to smash their earnings. With that carries a high valuation because a lot of people are willing to pay any price for Palantir right now, because one of the biggest questions that people are asking, and one important factor to really consider, is what is the time horizon? Because Palantir can be a pure play on this trend. It's speculative in nature still. The AI boom still has a lot of speculation behind it. But however, as we see this demand that is coming into the AI stocks and that are continuing to surge, just look at NVIDIA, for example. It depends on one's views for Palantir's recent earnings and their revenue growth strength and what you think they're going to be within the next decade compared to within the next month. That could really change what the value for Palantir is for you and what your future outlook and what your goals are as an investor. And specifically, anybody sitting on the sideline asking a question, what is the true value for Palantir for you and how long are you looking to get in on a position? And that can really justify what kind of evaluation that you find fair for Palantir. That's all that I have for you guys. We'll be taking a look at what's going to be happening tomorrow. Do you think we're going to see a pullback across the market as some of the uncertainty with inflationary data spreads across the market? Or do you think, like the last time that we got a few weeks ago from that hot inflation data report for January, do you think that's just going to be fluffed off and acted like nobody cares? We're going to see the bullishness and the momentum continue to show buys across the market, with Palantir possibly climbing up to the 30s if we continue to see the momentum across the board. A lot of things at the table, only time is going to tell, but I can tell you one thing. I am sure excited that we will have trading resuming back into the markets. I hate these big breaks. Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later.